You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. LSU had its elite camp this past weekend. Sam Spiegelman from On3Sports, national recruiting analyst, good enough to join us for a couple minutes to talk about what we learned from the weekend in Baton Rouge. Sam, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, it's always our pleasure. Let me start with a very big, broad brush picture for people who aren't like the super into recruiting. What is an elite camp and why is it important?
Basically, what you see around from January on after kids wrap up their junior, sophomore, senior season, not senior, but junior, their underclassmen seasons, a bunch of offers start getting thrown around. And people really don't know the difference between a committable offer and an uncommittable offer.
Sure.
Some schools will throw out committable offers during the spring, but for the most part, they are basically invitations to say, we like you, we like how you look, we like how you play, we just want to see you compete. We want you to visit campus. We want to get you coached by our coaches and see how you respond. We want to see, get an in-person evaluation. And at these camps are so critical, whether, this is LSU's Elite Camp, but they've had multiple camps already. They had a O-line, D-line camp to start the summer, followed by a skills camp. They've dished out offers at all of them. They also had a 7-on-7 tournament, a big O-line, D-line camp again. And this is their Elite Camp where they have a lot of guys not only in and around Louisiana and the neighboring states, but they had guys from California, from Ohio, from Florida, from Georgia, all over the country there, as well as some of their top recruits, some of their top commits, and a lot of the top underclassmen that are now on their radar for the future classes.
So, Sam, we know that Ed Ogeron staff, you had to come to camp. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you had to come to camp to get an offer, to be able to commit. How is Brian Kelly's staff, or is Brian Kelly's staff handling their recruitment process differently from the previous staff? Well,
what Coach O did wasn't, a foreign thing. Les Miles did that as well. You think about guys like Racy, they wanted to get a 40 time on him, and now he's, one of the fastest guys and got drafted by the Titans. So it's a part of the process, especially in Louisiana. What you're seeing with Brian Kelly is, guys that they've evaluated, they've I don't know if you want to say they've offered sooner, but there has been no hesitation. It kind of feels, I was just doing another interview with the Advocate, and it just feels like this is an NFL front office feel. They have done their research on every kid that is in camp. If you ask who a kid is, they can identify him within seconds, and they know the whole background. So if they see something, they don't hesitate. Brian Kelly has been doing his homework. He's, people have kind of called him the closer here. He is the final thought on all these kids, whether to offer, whether to take their commitment, whether to push for a commitment, you name it. He's the CEO, but they are layered from top to bottom with guys who have deep backgrounds on all these kids. So when they see something, when the light turns on, they don't hesitate, which has been a criticism of plenty of LSU coaches in the past for not offering kids. It seems like when LSU is ready, they're ready. And so far, it's been very well received by, in and around the Louisiana community.
Sam Spiegelman's with us. He's on Twitter at Sam Spiegs. I'll give him a follow, of course, from On3Sports. I also saw on your social media you listed the top performers from the LSU Elite Camp. Let's run through that, if we could, just a little bit of what really stood out.
Sure.
Let's just start. Let's start at the top. You had the MVP. Offensive tackle, Zalance Hurd. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, this kid is out of this world. LSU is probably going to have Will Campbell be their starting left tackle this coming fall, which is unheard of because he's a freshman, played at Neville last year, but he's a different kind of kid. And let me tell you, when you see Will, he looks like someone who plays offensive tackle in the SEC. When you see Lance Hurd, you also see someone who's going to play offensive tackle in the SEC and play on Sundays one day. He is 6'6", 308 pounds. He has 36.5-inch arms going into his senior season. I don't need to tell you that. Get Mike Detillier on here to tell you about how freakish those arms are, please. The cool thing about Lance is he started his high school career at defensive line. He moved over to right tackle last year for Neville, which was a state semifinalist, I believe. And now he's transitioned very seamlessly over to the left side this year. He's very coachable. He has an incredible football IQ and freakishly physically put together. You don't see kids that look like Lance Hurd every now and then, and that play at the level that he does at this stage. Far and away the MVP, and most importantly, it's a premium position that just does not come around, I would say, in Louisiana since Will Campbell and Cam Robinson, but kids that look like Lance just don't come around at the high school level almost ever. Yeah. So far and away the MVP of that entire elite camp.
Who else stood out from the camp, Sam?
They had a really great collection of quarterbacks. Not so much in the 2023 class. They've been on campus throughout the time, but they had a good group of 2024s and 2025s. I mean, Walker White is the first guy they offered. Kid from Arkansas. He's their number one player for 2024. He's got a big arm. He's 6'3", 225. I think he ran a 4.6 40, or he ran a 4.7 40 at LSU. He had ran a 4.6 40 probably 2 days before, and has probably been on the road for 2 days. But just rifling passes downfield. Had the strongest arm, I think, at the camp. They had a 2025 quarterback, Colin Hurley, who's a nationally sought-after recruit. That's his second or third visit to Baton Rouge, and he wanted to work out for the staff. He had a big visit before the workout, and then kind of really, for a 2025 kid to be a top performer is pretty rare. So Colin Hurley is standout with Walker White as one of the top performers. I think that says a lot about what his future holds. The same goes for Jake Merklinger, who comes from Georgia. We obviously know that, Georgia produces quarterbacks at a really high level, and this is another tall, big-arm quarterback. I thought he was really sharp throwing the outside and kind of with anticipation, with touch for a 2024. I think he's high on LSU's radar. Big thing is they had a lot of really talented quarterbacks for really 2024, and that's probably beyond. They have to figure out 2023, don't get me wrong, but this staff, like I said, it's an NFL front office staff, it feels like. They're doing their homework, and they really want to use this camp season to get a look at the best quarterbacks, and not just in Louisiana, not just in Texas, but in the whole entire country. And they're putting together their list of guys that they're going after to make sure they're going after the best, and then the second best, and then the third best. And it definitely showed during the elite camp.
Sam, a couple more for you. Sam Spiegelman from On3Sports is with us. 5 commits for LSU right now. Is it in any way concerning that the number's not higher right now?
No. I think that things are going to start to pick up toward July and August. Right now, June is big for official visits now. Mm-hmm. I know that wasn't the case 5 years ago, but, a lot of these kids are taking spring and summer OVs, and they're going to try to sit and make a decision before their senior season. So I think LSU is about to go on a run here in the next couple of weeks, couple of months, just because of the time of the year. It's the end of June. They've had a ton of kids on campus in June. You'll start to see some decisions being made in July in the dead period, and then gearing up for the fall, they're going to have a few more commitments in place. I'd imagine at a certain point, whether it's at the end of the summer, before sometime during the fall, they're going to have to lock in their quarterback, and then you obviously know that the elite guys tend to wait till the back end of the fall, December, early signing period, in some cases February, to make their decisions. So. I know that they would love, summer is the time to start loading up on commits, and I expect that LSU will. Like I said, camp season, they're moving very methodically. They're not rushing. I think under Coach O, that's a big difference. I think that they would probably have 17 or 18 commitments almost by the end of camp season. They saw a kid and they pushed for a commitment, where this staff is they're not only evaluating Louisiana and Texas and Mississippi, they're going national, and they're going one step at a time. And I don't think there's any rush, because the way that things are going, they could be in a really good spot with maybe 15 commits by the time that the season rolls around.
Just for comparison as well, Alabama's in there with 5 commits as well. I don't think anybody in Tuscaloosa is worried about the relative lack of number of commits. We're just kind of all learning, right? It's a new staff, a new way of doing things, so we're all just kind of learning together. Sam Spiegelman will follow the coverage, man, on 3Sports. Make sure you follow him. He's on Twitter at Sam Spiegs. Give him a follow. Always appreciate it, Sam. Thanks, man.
Yep, have a good one, Matt.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.